They kidnapped my children. The HOA actually took them, claiming I had violated their sacred community rules. Why? Because they believed I had illegally purchased a home in a 55-plus community. Except I didn't. My lawyer proved my property was outside their jurisdiction. But the HOA didn't know who they were messing with, because I'm not just any homeowner. I'm a federal judge, and they just committed the worst legal blunder of their pathetic lives. How far would you go if the HOA took your family? Welcome to my channel. If you love insane HOA revenge stories, hit that subscribe button, because this one is wild. The morning started like any other. Coffee brewing, the scent of toast filling the kitchen, and my two kids, Alex and Sophie, chattering about their upcoming soccer tournament. I was reviewing case notes for an upcoming federal court session when I heard the unmistakable rustling of papers being shoved through my mail slot. Another notice from the HOA. I sighed, already prepared for another petty complaint about grass height or mailbox colors. But as I unfolded the letter, my breath caught. Final warning. You are in violation of HOA residency requirements. Immediate eviction required. All unauthorized minors must be removed from the premises within 24 hours. Failure to comply will result in further action. I frowned. Unauthorized minors. I reread the line, my pulse beginning to race. My home, a beautiful 3-bedroom colonial, sat outside of their community lines. When I bought it, I had explicitly verified with my lawyer that my property was not subject to their HOA. I even had county zoning maps proving it. But now, these busybodies were claiming I had broken their so-called age restriction rule, stating no one under 55 could reside in the neighborhood. I tossed the letter onto the counter and grabbed my phone. "Elliot, we have a problem," I said as soon as my attorney picked up. "The HOA is trying to evict my kids." Elliot sighed. "We went through this during closing. Your house is not part of the HOA jurisdiction. It's a scare tactic. I'll send a cease and desist letter today." That should have been the end of it. A minor annoyance, a typical HOA overstep. But I underestimated just how far these people were willing to go. The next day, I arrived home to a gut-wrenching silence. No laughter, no video game sounds, no clinking of dishes, just silence. Panic crawled up my spine. "Alex? Sophie?" I called, rushing inside. The house was eerily empty. My stomach churned as I noticed both their backpacks sitting by the door, untouched from this morning. Their sneakers were still neatly lined up. My gut told me something was wrong. I yanked my phone from my pocket and dialed my son. Straight to voicemail. My daughters? Same thing. The panic turned ice cold. I tried their friends' parents. No one had seen them. My hands were shaking as I dialed 911. The dispatcher's voice was calm but firm. "Sir, are you reporting a missing persons case?" I opened my mouth, but my throat was dry. "Yes. My 2 children, they're missing." The next 2 hours were a blur. Officers arriving, combing through the house, asking me the same questions over and over. When did I last see them? Did I notice anything strange? Any enemies? As a federal judge, I had plenty of enemies, but no criminal had ever dared to come near my children. Then, an officer standing by my mailbox turned, frowning. "Sir, we found this." He held out another HOA letter, this one taped to my door. My fingers clenched around the paper as I read, "As your unauthorized tenants have failed to vacate, the HOA has taken steps to ensure compliance. Your children will be held in a safe location until this matter is resolved." My vision blurred with rage. I presided over hundreds of federal cases. I had seen criminal enterprises, human traffickers, corrupt politicians, but never had I seen a damn HOA kidnap children. The officers read over my shoulder, their expressions shifting from confusion to horror. Did Did your HOA just admit to taking your kids? One officer asked, disbelief in his voice. I exhaled sharply, hands trembling. Yes, I said, forcing myself to stay calm. And they have no idea who they just messed with. A search began immediately. Officers swarmed the neighborhood, knocking on doors, questioning HOA board members. But suddenly, no one seemed to know anything. My neighbor, Miss Harper, an elderly woman who always baked cookies for my kids, tugged me aside. Judge, she whispered, glancing around nervously, I saw something strange this morning. Two men in suits, never seen them before, came to your house after you left. Your kids got into a black SUV. They didn't look scared, but they didn't look happy either. My pulse pounded. Where did they go? They drove toward the HOA clubhouse, she said, lowering her voice. I thought maybe they were being taken to some after-school event, but now. She trailed off, fear in her eyes. That was enough for me. I turned to the officers. We're going to that clubhouse now. The police escorted me as I stormed through the HOA's front doors. Karen Wills, the self-proclaimed president of this power-hungry dictatorship, sat behind a massive mahogany desk, smiling like a smug snake. Ah, Judge Carter. I was expecting you, she purred, adjusting her pearl necklace. How dare you? I slammed the letter onto her desk, voice shaking with fury. Where are my children? Karen tilted her head, feigning innocence. Your illegal tenants have been relocated to a more appropriate environment until this matter is sorted out. The officers beside me exchanged uneasy glances. I forced myself to breathe. That's kidnapping, I said, voice dangerously low. Do you understand what you've done? Karen's eyes gleamed. Oh, please. Don't be dramatic. They're at a board-approved interim guardianship facility while we finalize their removal. My nails dug into my palms. This lunatic actually believed what she was saying. Where are they? I enunciated every word carefully, because if I didn't, I might have snapped her neck right there. She let out a breathy laugh. Somewhere safe. Now, I suggest you stop making a scene, Judge Carter. After all, the HOA has rules. Rules. She had stolen my children, and she was talking about rules. But she had made a fatal mistake. She thought she had the upper hand. I turned to the officers. You heard her. She's openly admitting to detaining minors without consent. The lead officer, a man who had clearly dealt with HOA nonsense before but never at this level, straightened. Mrs. Wills, if you don't tell us where the children are immediately, you'll be charged with felony unlawful detainment, conspiracy, and endangerment of minors. Karen's smile faltered, but she held her ground. This is a civil matter, officer. We are merely enforcing community standards. Shut the hell up. I snapped, finally letting my rage show. I'm a federal judge, you lunatic. Do you really think I don't know the law? This isn't a civil matter, this is federal kidnapping. Karen's confidence cracked. She wasn't used to pushback. She was used to winning through intimidation and bureaucracy. But not today. Not against me. She licked her lips, shifting nervously. Before she could finish, an officer stepped behind her, pulling out cuffs. Mrs. Wills, you're under arrest for unlawful detainment. Wait, she screeched, struggling as they snapped cuffs onto her wrists. They're at Lakewood Christian Academy. I didn't wait. I didn't speak. I ran. I drove like a madman. The speed limit meant nothing. Red lights blurred past as I sped toward Lakewood Christian Academy, my tires screeching with every sharp turn. The police sirens blared behind me, but I barely noticed. My hands clenched the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white, my heart hammering in my chest. They had my kids. That psychotic HOA thought they could kidnap my children and treat them like property in their little rulebook. They had no idea what they'd just done. The second I pulled into the school's parking lot, I threw my car into park and bolted out the door before the engine even fully shut off. Officers were already rushing past me toward the entrance. The school looked perfectly normal, kids playing on the playground, parents picking up their children, but I knew somewhere inside, Alex and Sophie were being held against their will under some fabricated excuse. My mind raced through every possible legal scenario, what lies they had spun, what charges they had concocted. But it didn't matter. This was kidnapping. This was a crime, and I was about to make sure every last person involved burned for it. The principal, a frazzled-looking man in his 60s, met us at the front office. "What is the meaning of this?" he sputtered as uniformed officers flooded inside. "Sir," the lead officer said, holding up the HOA's notice, "do you have 2 children here under the custody of the Willow Creek HOA?" The principal blinked, clearly confused. "Oh, yes, but, where are they?" I cut in, my voice like ice. The man swallowed hard and motioned toward the back hallway. "Room 214. But I didn't wait. I ran. My shoes pounded against the tile. "Room 214. Room 214. My blood roared in my ears as I grabbed the handle and shoved the door open with so much force that it slammed against the wall. There they were. My kids. Alex and Sophie sat at 2 desks, looking frightened but unharmed. A woman in a stiff navy suit stood beside them, her eyes widening in shock as I stormed in. "Who the hell are you?" she snapped, stepping between me and my children. I ignored her, rushing forward and pulling them both into my arms. "Dad!" Sophie sobbed, clutching my shirt. We didn't know what was happening. They took us. "It's okay, baby," I whispered, holding her tight. "I'm here now." Alex's arms wrapped around me just as fiercely, his small body shaking. I would burn the world down for this moment. The woman in the suit cleared her throat, clearly still under the delusion that she had authority here. "Mr. Carter," she said, "you have no right to be here. These children were placed under temporary HOA guardianship." "Shut up," my voice was so low, so venomous, that the entire room froze. The officer stormed in behind me. "Ma'am," one of them said, "step away from the children." She scoffed. "I don't think you understand. The HOA has legal grounds too. You are not the government," I snapped. "You are not the police. You are not a legal entity with jurisdiction over anything. And you sure as hell don't have the right to detain minors." She opened her mouth to argue, but I turned to the officer. "Arrest her." The lead cop didn't hesitate. "Ma'am, you are under arrest for unlawful detainment and conspiracy to commit kidnapping." "What? This is ridiculous." Her words were cut off as the officer spun her around and locked handcuffs onto her wrists. I pulled my kids behind me, shielding them as she screeched, "This is an outrage. We are a legal governing body." "No," I spat, "you're a glorified neighborhood watch with a power complex. And you're about to learn what real legal power looks like."